Ladies and gentlemen, we find ourselves today pondering the nature of life's complexities, its highs and lows, its joy and sorrow, its fullness and emptiness. To some, life may seem a simple equation, black and white, an existence defined by clarity, where every moment is dissected into certainty. Yet, as the Stoic philosophers have taught us, such a perspective fails to capture the full depth of our experiences. In life, we often find ourselves confronted by contrasting forces, which can seem as simple as black and white. The Stoic philosophy emphasizes the distinction between what is within our control and what lies beyond our control. This duality, the internal versus the external, mirrors the contrast of black and white, the stark clarity of the world around us, in which the human soul must navigate. But as we delve deeper into this metaphor, we come to realize that this binary view can be limiting, for life is never truly defined by such rigid distinctions. Imagine a world painted entirely in black and white, where every action, every event is seen in stark opposition. Success versus failure, joy versus sorrow, strength versus weakness. In such a world, the nuances of human experience are lost, and only the most basic elements of life are acknowledged. The man who lives in this black and white world may approach life with a sense of clarity and detachment, holding steadfast to Stoic principles of self-control, discipline, and rational thought. But even in the most orderly of lives, there remains something essential, something unquantifiable, that is missing: the vibrancy, the depth, the richness that color brings. The Stoics taught that the path to inner peace and virtue lies not in avoiding life's complexities, but in cultivating an attitude of equanimity toward them. Our external circumstances, they argued, are not within our control. How others act, what happens in the world, even the actions of fate, these are beyond our influence. What we can control, however, is our response to these events. The Stoic sage, in this sense, understands that external events are like the colorless backdrop of life, but the internal world, the realm of our thoughts, our virtue, and our perception, is where true meaning lies. It is in this internal space that we discover the color of our existence. If we think of black and white as representing the external events of life, those uncontrollable moments that can shift from happiness to sorrow, success to failure, the color represents something deeper. It represents the richness of human emotion, the vibrancy of love, the warmth of connection, and the depth of wisdom. These are the hues that paint the otherwise monochrome world, adding layers of meaning to our experiences. When a Stoic philosopher speaks of virtue, they speak not merely of moral correctness, but of the quality that transforms existence into something more meaningful. Virtue allows us to appreciate life's subtleties and complexities, even within the harshness of the world around us. It is through virtue that the world's color emerges. The man who lives a life guided by Stoic principles may understand that he cannot control the external world, but through virtue, he can choose how he reacts, how he engages with the world, and how he appreciates its beauty. Now, think of the presence of another person, perhaps a companion, a lover, a partner. To the Stoic, love is not an escape from the principles of rationality or inner peace. It is an opportunity to cultivate virtue in another person and to experience the richness of life in a way that would not be possible in isolation. A companion adds the color to the man's world, helping him see the world through a lens of empathy, compassion, and shared understanding. The Stoic may not lose himself in the emotional storm of love, but he learns to appreciate it as a source of growth, a source of learning, and a source of color. In the realm of the Stoic, love and connection are not distractions, but invitations to expand one's capacity for virtue. They are opportunities to embrace life in all its shades, its complexities, its joys, and even its sorrows. Just as the color in an artist's palette brings a painting to life, love and connection fill the man's world with meaning, bringing nuance and beauty to what could otherwise be a stark, rigid existence. Thus, the contrast between black and white becomes more than a simple binary. It represents the tension between what is external and what is internal, what is out of our control and what we can shape with virtue. The color in our lives, then, is not just an external force but something we cultivate within. It is the result of wisdom, of the ability to love without attachment, to grow with others, and to see the world not in rigid terms, but as a rich, evolving tapestry of human experience. In this way, the Stoic learns that life is not meant to be lived in shades of black and white, but in the full spectrum of possibility, where even in the most difficult times, there is the potential for growth, beauty, and indeed, color. In the Stoic worldview, virtue is considered the highest good, the essential foundation upon which a meaningful life is built. Virtue, in its truest form, is not a mere adherence to a set of moral rules, but rather a cultivated character that aligns with nature, reason, and wisdom. For the Stoic, virtue is the sole thing that is truly within our control, and all external circumstances, whether favorable or unfavorable, hold no inherent value unless they are filtered through the lens of virtue. The woman, in the context of a man's life, represents more than just an emotional attachment or fleeting companionship. She embodies a source of enrichment that enables him to deepen his understanding of virtue. In a world where external events are ever-changing and often beyond our grasp, the presence of another person becomes an opportunity for the man to manifest and refine his own virtue. Just as the Stoic philosopher seeks to embody wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, so too does the presence of a loved one provide the perfect context for these virtues to unfold. In the beginning, the man might approach the relationship with a certain sense of detachment, in line with Stoic principles. Love, to a Stoic, is not a passion that overtakes reason or undermines one's inner peace. Instead, it is a force that complements the pursuit of virtue, providing the opportunity to exercise the virtues of empathy, respect, and understanding. The woman, in her own being, serves as a mirror for the man. Her behavior, her needs, her reactions allow him to practice patience, to engage in the art of self-control, and to act justly. The relationship between the two becomes a crucible in which their characters are forged and refined. To love with virtue is to love with reason, to appreciate the other person for who they are without falling into the traps of possessiveness, attachment, or selfish desire. The man does not see the woman as an object of his own fulfillment, but as a fellow traveler on the road of life, someone with whom he shares a common purpose. His love for her is rooted in the desire for both of them to live virtuously, to support each other's growth, and to face the inevitable challenges of life with resilience and understanding. Through her, the man learns to become more attuned to the nature of his own emotions. He recognizes that feelings are not to be feared or suppressed, but understood and integrated into the broader tapestry of his virtuous life. The woman, by being a part of his life, becomes the perfect opportunity for him to practice the Stoic virtue of apatheia, the state of being unaffected by external circumstances. In this sense, love does not disrupt his peace, but deepens it. It is through loving her that he learns to master his emotions, to respond to her needs with reason and wisdom rather than rashness or impulsivity. the woman also teaches him that love, like virtue, is not something to be hoarded or taken for granted. Love, in the Stoic sense, is an active engagement with another person's soul, an effort to support their flourishing as much as one's own. It is not a feeling to be controlled, but a conscious choice to treat the other with the utmost respect and fairness, to act justly even in the face of imperfection. When the woman enters his life, the man becomes acutely aware of the necessity to be just and temperate, to uphold his own virtues as much as he desires to nurture hers. In this regard, the woman does not only add color to his life, she refines his virtues and helps him become the man he is meant to be. She offers him the opportunity to see the world not as a solitary figure, detached from others, but as part of an interconnected whole, where the well-being of another person directly impacts his own. This is the core of Stoic cosmopolitanism, the belief that we are all part of a larger human family and that our actions should reflect a commitment to the common good. Through the woman, the man learns that his personal virtue is not an isolated endeavor, but one that is interwoven with the well-being of others. Ultimately, the woman's presence in the man's life is a reminder that virtue is not an abstract ideal, but a living, breathing force that manifests itself through actions, relationships, and the choices we make. Her love, rooted in wisdom and respect, challenges him to become a better version of himself, to live in accordance with nature and reason, and to see every moment with her as an opportunity to express the highest form of virtue. Through their relationship, they both discover the depth of what it means to live virtuously, to love without attachment, and to grow together in harmony with the world and each other. In this sense, virtue is not just a concept to be understood. It is a dynamic practice that is brought to life in every interaction, every decision, and every shared moment. The woman, through her love and presence, becomes the catalyst for the man's own journey of growth and enlightenment, forever shaping his character in ways that go far beyond the superficial, for it is through her that he finds not only joy and connection, but the very essence of his own virtue. Love in the Stoic world is not merely an emotional reaction or an instinctual attraction. Instead, it is an expression of deep wisdom, virtue, and mutual respect. The Stoics viewed love through a lens of rationality and self-mastery, emphasizing that genuine love arises from the recognition of the interconnectedness of all human beings and from a deep understanding of the impermanence of life. Love is not a fleeting desire to possess or control another person. Rather, it is an enduring commitment to mutual growth, shared wisdom, and a journey of self-improvement. When we look at the relationship between a man and a woman through the Stoic perspective, love is not simply a momentary passion or a source of personal pleasure. Instead, love represents a guiding force that shapes both individuals into becoming more virtuous versions of themselves. To the Stoic, the highest form of love is not the love that seeks to consume or overpower, but the love that fosters growth and strengthens character. It is the love that helps each person move closer to their true nature, supporting each other's journey toward wisdom, courage, and tranquility. Love, in this sense, is transformative. It does not exist as an isolated emotion or personal satisfaction, but is a catalyst for change, growth, and self-realization. The man, through his love for the woman, learns the art of empathy and compassion, transcending his own ego and seeing the world through her eyes. He recognizes that to love another person fully is to understand them as they are, not as objects to fulfill his desires, but as independent beings with their own aspirations, struggles, and truths. The Stoic approach to love requires that one seeks not to impose one's will upon another, but to allow the relationship to be one of mutual respect, harmony, and learning. The woman's love, in turn, serves as a mirror to the man's soul. Through her, he learns to understand his own emotions, not as unpredictable storms, but as signals to be interpreted and understood. Love is an opportunity for the Stoic to practice apatheia, the state of being free from uncontrolled passions and attachments, while still engaging deeply with another. To love, in the Stoic sense, is to be present without being overwhelmed, to engage fully without becoming ensnared by the fleeting nature of emotion. This does not mean that the Stoic ignores or suppresses love. Rather, he recognizes that love is a force that can both strengthen and challenge his ability to remain steadfast in his commitment to virtue. The Stoics also taught that true love transcends the limitations of individual desires. It is not a pursuit of possession or validation, but a recognition of the value of the other person as they are, independent of any external need. The man, in loving the woman, learns that his love is not contingent on her behavior, nor is it something that seeks to change or mold her into his ideal. Love, in this sense, becomes a celebration of the other's individuality, a mutual growth where both partners support each other in their respective journeys toward excellence. Love, according to Stoic principles, is a shared path of wisdom and personal development. It is not something to be clung to with desperate attachment, for that would only lead to suffering and the loss of tranquility. Instead, love should be embraced with open hands, knowing that it will evolve, that it may change with time, and that it is bound by the same impermanence as all things in life. In this way, Stoic love is also characterized by amor fati *, the love of one's fate. To love another is to accept both the joy and the pain that come with it, knowing that both are part of the rich tapestry of existence. True love, then, becomes a foundation for personal growth, both for the man and the woman. Through their relationship, they learn to appreciate each other's virtues and accept each other's flaws. It is in the shared practice of virtue that their bond strengthens, not through the need to possess or control, but through the mutual striving for excellence. They become partners not only in life, but in the pursuit of the highest goods: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. Their love becomes a shared endeavor to live in accordance with nature, to fulfill their potential, and to support each other in becoming the best versions of themselves. In this way, love is not an obstacle to the Stoic path of inner peace, but rather an integral part of it. The woman's love teaches the man that love, when understood through the lens of virtue, is a powerful force that nurtures and elevates the soul. It is love that transforms the world from black and white into a vivid spectrum of meaning and connection, where both partners grow and evolve together, guided by reason and mutual respect. Emotional resilience, a central tenet of Stoic philosophy, is the ability to remain steadfast in the face of adversity, to endure hardship without being swayed by the turbulent forces of emotion. The Stoics, particularly figures like Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus, taught that while we cannot control the external events of our lives, we always have control over our responses to them. Life, in its infinite complexity, will inevitably bring us moments of challenge, pain, and loss. But it is not the events themselves that shape our fate. It is how we choose to respond to them. Emotional resilience, therefore, is not about suppressing emotion or detaching from life's experiences. It is about facing those experiences with an unwavering commitment to inner peace, understanding, and strength, In the context of love, emotional resilience plays a crucial role. The man, living in a world defined by both external chaos and internal struggle, might find himself vulnerable to the passions and fluctuations of his emotions, but it is in the presence of love, particularly the love of another person, where his emotional resilience is put to the test. For the Stoic, love does not lead to indulgence in unchecked emotions, nor does it suggest that love should be free from hardship. On the contrary, love presents the opportunity to practice emotional resilience, to face the inevitable challenges of relationship with both wisdom and strength. The woman, in this sense, becomes a mirror for the man's emotional resilience. Through her, he encounters a deeper connection to his own emotional landscape. The Stoic teaches us that emotions, while natural, should not be allowed to dominate us. They are not things to be avoided, but things to be understood, acknowledged, and processed in a way that does not disturb the peace of the soul. The man, through his love for the woman, learns that emotional resilience is not the rejection of feelings, but the ability to integrate them into a broader framework of wisdom and virtue. When the man faces emotional turbulence, whether it be the pain of conflict, the frustration of misunderstanding, or the sorrow of loss, he is presented with an opportunity to practice the Stoic discipline of eupatheia *, the ability to respond to emotions with clarity and purpose. His love for the woman may bring forth moments of deep emotional intensity, but the Stoic approach is one of responding with reason, not reaction. He understands that his emotions are not his identity. They are passing experiences that, though real, do not define him. His emotional resilience, therefore, is a testament to his ability to maintain inner tranquility in the face of external events. In a relationship, this resilience becomes especially vital. When conflicts arise, inevitably, in any partnership, emotional responses can cloud judgment, leading to rash decisions or harmful actions. However, the Stoic approach teaches the man to remain centered, to pause and reflect before reacting. Rather than being carried away by the rush of anger, fear, or frustration, he learns to choose his response with wisdom. This practice of emotional resilience strengthens the relationship, fostering an environment where both individuals are free to express themselves, knowing that their emotional responses will be met with understanding and calm. Moreover, the woman herself embodies a source of resilience for the man. Her strength and composure in the face of adversity may serve as a model, encouraging him to deepen his own emotional resilience. Through their shared experiences, they both learn that love is not an escape from hardship, but a way to navigate it with grace. In moments of joy, love enriches the experience, and in moments of sorrow, it provides the strength to endure. The woman, through her example and her love, becomes an anchor, helping the man see that the storms of life can be weathered without losing sight of one's inner peace. This dynamic teaches both the man and the woman the value of mutual emotional resilience. Their relationship, grounded in respect and virtue, becomes a space where they can face challenges together without being consumed by them. Each moment of difficulty, whether it's a disagreement, a personal loss, or a trial in life, becomes an opportunity to practice resilience, to grow stronger together, and to emerge more connected and unified. In Stoic philosophy, the ultimate goal is not to eliminate emotion, but to transform it into something that serves our greater purpose. Emotional resilience is not about numbing ourselves to the highs and lows of life, but about navigating them with wisdom, patience, and strength. Through love, the man finds that his emotional resilience is not only a personal achievement, but a shared experience. The woman, like virtue itself, is both a challenge and a teacher, helping him cultivate a deeper understanding of his own emotional responses, guiding him toward greater clarity, and helping him to meet life's challenges with the strength of character that Stoicism so deeply values. Together, they learn that emotional resilience is not a solitary endeavor, but a shared practice that enriches their lives and strengthens their bond. The Stoic philosophy teaches us that we are not isolated beings, but rather integral parts of a larger whole, interconnected with all of humanity and, by extension, the universe itself. This interconnectedness, often referred to as *sympatheia*, emphasizes the idea that every individual is part of a vast cosmic order. The Stoics believed that to live virtuously, one must recognize this interdependence and act in a manner that promotes harmony and the common good. It is through understanding and embracing this interconnection that we can find our true place in the world and live with purpose. In the context of a relationship, whether romantic or otherwise, the notion of interdependence becomes even more profound. The man and the woman, as separate individuals, may have their own unique journeys and paths in life, but together they create a partnership that is greater than the sum of its parts. Through their bond, they experience mutual growth, support each other's development, and ultimately work together to shape each other's destinies. This partnership is a manifestation of *sympatheia*, a recognition that their actions, choices, and virtues are intertwined and that their shared existence holds a unique purpose. In a world defined by the Stoic principle of cosmopolitanism, the idea that we are all citizens of the same world, the relationship between the man and the woman reflects this interconnectedness. Just as we are all members of the larger human family, so too are we meant to connect with and support each other in meaningful ways. The Stoic does not isolate himself from others, but instead seeks to cultivate relationships that contribute to the mutual flourishing of all involved. The man's love for the woman in this light is not an isolated feeling or a selfish desire, but a recognition that their lives are intricately bound together. They grow not only as individuals but as partners in a shared journey, each helping the other move closer to wisdom and virtue. This interdependence is not about reliance or dependency, but about the recognition that each person's well-being is intimately connected to the others. In a truly balanced relationship, both individuals bring their strengths to the table, supporting each other's weaknesses and challenging each other to grow in ways they might not have been able to achieve alone. The man and the woman, as part of this larger cosmic order, are not in competition with one another, but in collaboration. They do not see each other as mere reflections of their own desires or needs, but as fellow travelers on a shared path of self-improvement and mutual respect. The beauty of interdependence in a Stoic relationship lies in its acknowledgement of both individual autonomy and collective growth. Each person remains true to their own values, virtues, and purpose, but at the same time, they recognize that their actions ripple outwards and affect those around them. The man may strive for wisdom, courage, and justice, but in doing so, he understands that his growth contributes to the woman's growth, and vice versa. Through their connection, they create a bond that transcends mere emotional attachment and becomes a force for shared virtue, a partnership in which both are better able to cultivate the Stoic ideals of temperance, self-control, and rationality. Moreover, interdependence teaches the man that his actions must always be considered in relation to the other. Stoic thought emphasizes that we are all part of a larger moral and social order, and our actions should aim to promote the common good. In a relationship, This manifests as a shared responsibility to support and uplift each other, to act with justice and fairness, and to work toward a collective harmony that benefits both individuals as well as the larger community. The man's love for the woman is not an isolated pursuit of happiness or fulfillment, but a shared commitment to mutual growth, both in the emotional and philosophical realms. In recognizing this interdependence, both the man and the woman understand that their connection is not about possession or control, but about a cooperative effort to enhance one another's lives. It is a relationship built on the understanding that, just as the Stoic must live in accordance with nature and reason, so too must they live in accordance with the natural flow of human connection, supporting one another in their respective quests for virtue. Ultimately, the relationship between the man and the woman becomes a microcosm of the Stoic worldview, an acknowledgement that all human beings are interconnected, that we are all part of a greater whole, and that our individual actions, however small, have far-reaching consequences. Through their bond, the man and the woman learn to navigate life's challenges not as isolated individuals, but as co-creators of a shared reality, working together to build a life founded on wisdom, mutual respect, and the pursuit of virtue. Their love, grounded in the principles of Stoic philosophy, becomes not just a personal bond, but a reflection of the broader cosmic order in which all human beings are united in their common pursuit of a life well lived. At the heart of Stoic philosophy lies the idea that we must learn to detach ourselves from the fleeting nature of external things, focusing instead on what is within our control, our thoughts, reactions, and actions. In a world where circumstances are constantly changing, where joys and sorrows arise and fade like the seasons, the Stoic teaches that our true fulfillment cannot come from external sources, but rather from the cultivation of virtue within. In the context of a relationship, this Stoic principle holds profound significance, for it helps guide us toward a love that is resilient, unshakable, and grounded in wisdom. The woman, in the context of the man's life, embodies the fullness of life's experiences, its complexity, its contradictions, and its beauty. She may bring joy, passion, and connection into his world, but she also presents challenges, frustrations, and moments of uncertainty. Through these experiences, the Stoic learns that the essence of love is not rooted in attachment or possession, but in the wisdom to engage with another person in a way that fosters mutual growth, self-discipline, and virtue. True love in this sense is not about expecting the other person to fulfill all of one's desires or to meet every emotional need. Instead, it is about learning to embrace the impermanence of love, accepting the fact that all relationships are subject to the natural laws of change, and finding contentment in the very act of loving, regardless of the external circumstances. The Stoic perspective on love encourages a deep understanding of the transient nature of life. The man who embraces this philosophy does not cling to the woman as a source of personal happiness or as a means of filling an emotional void. Instead, he sees her as a fellow traveler on the journey of life, someone whose presence is a gift to be cherished, but whose absence, should it arise, is also part of the natural order. In this way, love becomes something deeper than attachment. It becomes a conscious choice to engage with another person with integrity, respect, and appreciation for the shared journey. This understanding of love as something not dependent on external circumstances, but on internal virtue, is a critical point of growth for the man. He learns to embrace love without clinging to it, recognizing that love, like everything else, is impermanent. The woman is not a permanent fixture in his life because of any inherent property she possesses, but because of the dynamic nature of their connection, he does not control her, nor does he seek to possess her. He recognizes that the love they share is something that must be nurtured, but also accepted with the awareness that change is inevitable, that people grow, and that relationships evolve over time. For the Stoic, love is not about resisting or avoiding change, but about accepting it with equanimity. The man knows that while he cannot control the future, he can control how he responds to the present. He understands that the woman's actions and behaviors, like his own, are part of the natural flow of life, and he must learn to adapt and grow with her. This does not mean surrendering to passive resignation, but cultivating the wisdom to navigate life's fluctuations without being overwhelmed by them. In love, as in life, the Stoic embraces the reality that things will not always go as planned, and that emotional turbulence is a natural part of the human experience. What matters is how one chooses to respond, how one navigates these changes with a spirit of grace, wisdom, and inner strength. This philosophy, in the context of a relationship, promotes a love that is grounded in self-mastery and emotional resilience. The man, understanding the impermanence of love, seeks not to find happiness through the woman, but through the cultivation of virtue and the development of an inner peace that is unaffected by external circumstances. By doing so, he becomes more capable of offering love freely without expectation or condition. His love for her is not a demand or a source of personal fulfillment, but a gift that he offers with the understanding that it may be shared for a time or it may not. The relationship becomes a space for mutual growth, where both individuals are free to evolve without fear of loss or change. By embracing the Stoic principle of impermanence, the man and woman come to understand that their love is not bound by external factors, but by the internal commitment to virtue, wisdom, and mutual respect. Through this understanding, their connection transcends fleeting emotions, becoming something enduring and resilient, grounded not in attachment, but in the freedom that comes from acceptance, growth, and the conscious practice of love in every moment. In conclusion, the journey through Stoic philosophy reveals that love, in its truest form, transcends the fleeting nature of emotions and external circumstances. It teaches us that love is not about attachment or possession, but about mutual growth, shared wisdom, and the cultivation of virtue. The man, through his love for the woman, learns not to depend on her for his happiness, but to find fulfillment through his own practice of wisdom, resilience, and emotional mastery. Their connection, grounded in the Stoic ideals of justice, temperance, and inner peace, becomes a shared path toward personal growth and collective flourishing. Through their love, they both recognize the impermanence of life and relationships, learning to embrace change without fear or attachment. Their bond is not contingent on external conditions, but on the strength of their mutual respect, understanding, and the commitment to live virtuously. By embodying Stoic principles, they learn that love, far from being a force that disrupts peace, is a powerful tool for cultivating a life of purpose, harmony, and resilience. Ultimately, the relationship between the man and the woman becomes a reflection of the Stoic world view, a partnership that honors the interconnectedness of all things, the impermanence of life, and the pursuit of wisdom. Through their love, they discover that true fulfillment lies not in clinging to external circumstances, but in mastering their own responses, embracing change, and walking the path of virtue together. It is through this understanding that love becomes not just a feeling, but a powerful force for growth, resilience, and harmony, both within themselves and within their shared world.